So I'm 9th generation doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine, but I come from a Korean lineage, 9th generation Qigong teacher, practitioner, which is what I also teach in the world, which is medicine, right? Movement is medicine. And then finally, the Taoist principles, which I talk about are 8 keys of living meditation. And so I'm the first woman in my lineage.
I'm more familiar with a little bit of TCM, but a lot more with Ayurveda. And they are so meticulous about like, we pick this herb at this hour in this season. Can't pick it during a waxing moon. It has to be during a waning moon or the other way around, you know? You can't just take turmeric. It needs to be in this way. And like, you can't just take the capsule and think you're getting all the benefits. There's a formulation like black pepper and maybe ginger.
Legend goes, but not legend because we still talk about this today. The people who go to pick the ginseng on the mountains of East Asia and Korea, for example, if that ginseng did not like the person who didn't have the synergy, let's say, it wouldn't even show. The person could just walk by the ginseng. Like, that's how much strength our medicine has.
In India, in the Himalayas, they'll say like gurus could be just sitting there meditating, and if they don't want you to see them, you'll walk right by them.
The Taoist immortals, which were 10,000 years ago. I mean, 10,000 years ago, I cannot even. So they taught us that if you follow these practices and these tools and this way of living, you will be able to balance with whatever comes. You'll be able to balance with life. And that's how we can have longevity. And actually, you're one of the first that I will announce this to.
Ever since I wrote my goals down with the pen, my dreams and reality have both been blending in. I just hope that in the end, my debt don't extend me on my dividends if it did.
Your reality is literally being created by the quantum field around you right now. Most people think the space around them is empty, but quantum physics proved it's packed with energy patterns constantly affecting your biofield. Your phone and Wi-Fi are creating electromagnetic chaos that's disrupting your natural frequency. Here's what's wild. Scientists figured out how to actually flip this. Instead of your environment draining you, it can actually heal you by broadcasting beneficial quantum frequencies into your space. I actually use this app called Quantum Upgrade in my home, and the energy shift is incredible. You control it from your phone and feel the difference in minutes. And I really want to gift you with that quantum field. So just comment quantum and I'll send you my code to get it for free.
Dr. Janelle Kim.
Yes.
I had something I wanted to start with, but we were just getting into something right before we started rolling that I think is so important. So it started with me just asking simply, what do you think about microwaves? And
that's right. And I said, you know what, Frank, which will set up the entire conversation we have today, because that is truly, I couldn't live without balance. And I come from a Taoist lineage, which I'm sure we'll touch on, but everything in balance, you know, because the reality is here I am. And again, we'll dive into all of the things. So of course, I am a huge proponent of, you know, living in a clean manner, being very aware of our wealth, our wellness and our health. I put the words together.
Which wellness?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Is health.
There you go. It is, and that equals wealth. I did it.
Yeah.
But everything in balance. So what I mean by that is, I'm a mom of 2 young boys. You know, I work, I have flexibility in my work, but basically that means as an entrepreneur, it's 24 hours a day. I pick my kids up from school, I take them to all their sports. So you better believe there are times where I will pop something into the microwave, paying attention not to overcook it, you know, which I suppose if you're doing it in general, but that does make a difference. But yes, sometimes I use a microwave, and guess what? It's okay.
And I love it.
It's okay.
And then what that took us to was like, hey, don't make everything as like, for example, somebody says, I only tell the truth.
Yep.
I only tell the truth. Well, what if the truth is going to get your best friend killed?
Yes.
You only tell the truth? Like, there are always exceptions in life. And then you said an example that I love, because I always have my friends texting me their thought vomit. Right? They'll be like, I'm not talking to so-and-so, or well, and I'm like, yes, next week you will be. So why are you texting this to me? You know, like, why are you telling me this right now?
Absolutely. And also what I shared with you, okay, now I'm getting comfortable. Also what I shared with you is I can hear my father, who was my greatest mentor and teacher and part of my whole lineage. And he used to raise me slightly different than how I raised my boys, but same principles, same foundation. And he used to say to me, stop making statements. Well, as we briefly just touched on, of course you can stand on, you know, to what your beliefs, your values, all these things. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's a wise person watches more carefully what they say. Every word matters. And it's a habit. Everything is about habits, right? And so yes, don't be so extreme. As a Taoist, as I said, I come from a Taoist lineage, the 3 M's, everything I practice and teach and couldn't live without. Medicine, movement, mindset. It's all based on balance. So anytime there's yin and yang, anytime there's an extreme, that means you've hit that you're out of balance, right? In one extreme, well, by nature, no matter what we think we can do, we'll somehow rebalance in some way, shape, or form. And that's everything. That's the universe around us. That's our own mind, body, spirit. That's our relationships. So the more we can be balanced in this life, and that's a constant process, constant. So it's not, that awareness is basically, and what our ancient teachers taught us, which is exactly why they teach us the medicine, the movement, the mindset. These are tools to constantly be aware of ourselves and bring ourselves back to that balance. And I tell you what, why they did this is because then you can live a life that is so much more calm, so much more enjoyable. Because when you have those extremes, what happens is your emotions and so many other things, but let's break it down to that, are always extreme. You're all over the place. It doesn't feel good when you start to realize the difference. And furthermore, kind of just going back and concluding what we were talking about, I raise my boys the same way. Watch what you say. I'll never eat this. I can't stand this.
Right.
I hate this. I don't like that word. Never use that word hate in front of me, because that carries an energy with it that's extreme. You hate that? You hate the spinach? Why do you hate that? By the way, they don't. They actually like the spinach. Well, what are you even saying? Listen to what you're saying. But it's a good, it's an interesting way of living. Furthermore, if you hate this, guess what? What if someone remembers you saying this, and for some reason 2 weeks later you eat a spinach that you love? I don't know why we're on the topic of spinach, but you know, and now all of a sudden someone will remember, you'll remember, you just said you hated that. Now, if you continue to live your life like that, it's just it's inconsistent, you know?
It's not a disciplined mind, right?
No. That's a beautiful way of putting it, actually. And that really is a lot of what I teach, again, what I couldn't live without, which is why I feel compelled and it's my duty to share what has been passed down, is exactly that. Having that balance that we truly can live a life that is fulfilled, again, enjoyable. And I'm saying that more and more because for a long time that was even hard for me to say, you know?
What was hard to say?
Yeah, enjoy, fun. I still have a hard time being like, I'm gonna have fun, which is very silly because if you know me, I love to have fun.
Yeah, it's you know, it's like interesting because I'm like that too, where I'm so playful and fun, but when you're running businesses and you're doing things, it does kind of force you sometime to be like, okay, serious.
Absolutely. You know? And furthermore, I come from this 9th generation. I'm 9th generation in my lineage. Like to me, that was when I was younger, I'm a warrior. You know, that's why my retreats are called Warrior Within, because I want to share this aspect. I thought, you know, you have to be tough and rigid and, you know, and I was more extreme. But through that's where I also had to walk through this journey of, thankfully, pretty young in my life, learning, oh, actually, when it comes to yin and yang, which I should probably just touch on in a second here, what I mean by that, actually having more of that softness, being aware of that balance is even more strength. And that is longevity. Yeah. That is the secret to beauty, health, wellness.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, you know, the seriousness and the reverence that you so clearly have for this because of being 9th generation in your lineage. So tell me about that, what that lineage is.
Okay, so I'm 9th generation doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine, but I come from a Korean lineage, but that's literally what my degree is, right? Everything stems from China, and then Korea is known, particularly in my lineage, to further the understanding of herbal medicine, right? And 9th generation Qigong teacher, practitioner, which is what I also teach in the world, which is medicine, right? Movement is medicine. And then finally, the Taoist principles, which I talk about are 8 keys of living meditation. And so I'm the first woman in my lineage, which I also have so much reverence, gratitude, whatever that word is. And there is some seriousness that comes with that, you know, going back to that. But that is ultimately what I come from. I take it. It was always a choice though, too. I always like to just acknowledge that. Yes, I was born into this, in this lifetime on this earth, but if it was not my choice, I wouldn't be doing this. And that was something that my father very much instilled in myself, my brother, my sister. You know, I can show you these things, but it's up to you to commit, right? And so I basically committed to this lineage of sharing these things, the principles, the movement, the medicine.
And did your brother and sister as well?
In different ways. So my brother and my sister both lean more towards the martial arts aspect of everything. However, what I wish to share with, particularly in the modern world, they all come from the same root.
Right.
It's all medicine, or the way we think, the mindset aspect, the 8 keys of living meditation, as I call them. But that's the principles that have been handed down. How we train our mind, you just said that self-discipline is one of the greatest forms of medicine. Movement is one of the most powerful forms of medicine. Of course, medicine is medicine. It's food is the best medicine, understanding how to eat properly, right? Foundationally, and also for our own bodies. But also for 20 plus years, I've committed most of my life to this pillar, I would say, in creating which I did not necessarily think I'd be doing, but here I've been doing it for decades now, creating beautiful formulations for brands carried, that we're very familiar with, for skincare, properly formulated, clean skincare, hair care, body care, dietary supplements. So that's all what's been passed down by our ancient teachers.
And it's not just clean, but it's like you were one of the first, right?
Oh, yes.
I mean, 20 years ago, how many factories were making or even emphasizing clean,
Frank.
right?
I started in the spa industry, like the high-end spa industry, just because, and I was helping brands kind of build, right? So of course I formulated and manufactured, but back then it was like a small room mixing, pouring it with hand in bottles, and we'd show up to these trade shows with some of the OGs of the beauty industry. Wow. And back then there was not even like natural products I was fighting for. There was no such thing as clean beauty, you know, and helping people, and botanicals and herbs. People thought I was crazy, let alone East Asian.
That's a whole other level.
Oh yes.
I mean, I'm more familiar with a little bit of TCM, but a lot more with Ayurveda, and they are so meticulous about like, we pick this herb at this hour in this season.
100%.
Under that, you can't pick it during a waxing moon. It has to be during a waning moon, or the other way around. You know.
That's exactly
And they're so particular how it's boiled, and you know what I mean. And like people will say, you can't just take turmeric; it needs to be in this way. And like, you can't just take the capsule and think you're getting all the benefits. There's a formulation, like what other thing is it with? Black pepper, maybe ginger, right?
That's exactly right. So, that is true herbal medicine. It's not just understanding each of the ingredients, which we have so many amazing ones, but that's what's been passed down in my lineage as well. The understanding of each ingredient, but truly what that is the synergy. It's the perfect recipes, and the understanding that you speak of that I don't actually talk about so often, but people know through the years that that's what my lab does. I mean, in most of the formulas that we create, you know, not everyone has to have this, but it's there for them. We decoct our herbal ingredients or many of the actives, particularly if they are herbs or botanical plant medicine, in our lab. I thought everyone did this, but over the years people are like, no, Janelle, people
what do you
don't
mean?
do this.
Like they're grown in the lab?
No, so we get them very specifically from specific places. The processing, meaning processing to me is how they come in, just like you said, looking at the herb. Where did this herb come from? Who picked the herb? I did want to mention, because I feel like you'll love this, Frank, one of the things that comes to my mind that I was taught also is when it comes to ginseng. Like ginseng root is one of the, the main herbs of Eastern medicine, of course. Sure. I mean, that's a whole thing. Yeah. And one ginseng root can be $25 and another can be $500,000.
Wow.
The same root. Actually, it wouldn't even look to the naked eye. You might think that they're the same. And they would say that not sometimes, the legend goes, but not legend, because we still talk about this today, that the people who go to pick the ginseng on the mountains, of East Asia and Korea, for example, if that ginseng did not like the person didn't have the synergy, let's say, how do you put this into words? It wouldn't even show. The person could just walk by the ginseng. Like, that's how much strength our medicine has. Do you know?
Wow, you're blowing my mind, because
I don't always talk about this so much anymore.
No, and I noticed that even here in nature, where there's like certain things that are revealed at certain times,
right?
But even in life, like, it's so interesting you're saying that, because there's so many layers to that,
right?
Like in India, in the Himalayas, they'll say like gurus could be just sitting there meditating, and if they don't want you to see them, you'll walk right by them. But if they're meant to teach you something, you'll see them.
Absolutely.
But they'll just be there and never be seen.
Well, what you may not know yet, Frank, maybe a bit, is my father literally studied in the mountains of Korea with his master. For many years I couldn't even say that. I would say like teacher or whatever, and I wouldn't even tell people this because it was way too in Western culture. Like, what are you talking about, Janelle? And this is my own father. I still find it feels like the movies. But he studied in the mountains of Korea with his master, and I do tell a bit of that in my book, the story of even what it took for his master to even pay attention to him at 7 years old. 7 to 14 is when he mostly studied, which is literally, my boys are in that age now.
Wow.
So I watch them, I'm like, it blows my mind too.
So his dad sent him to do that?
Yes.
Wow.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
So I
You're
know.
like the real deal. I love this because, people will come in. I'm so also meticulous about who comes on the show.
Yes.
Even your own team had sent me other people who were amazing, who had millions of followers. And I just was like, I don't know. I don't think it's a fit now, Right. Because I really, sometimes people will be like, I'm a Reiki master. And then you look at their, website, and they did like a 6-month online course or something. And it just doesn't, it's fine. I'm sure that there can be amazing things that come from that. But the people that I really want to highlight are like, they came from master lineages.
Yes, Frank. And I'm being a little bit more vocal about it. I love being graceful, and by nature, I think I would be known to be a kind person, because that matters to me in life, and my heart is that way. However, I'm being more vocal lately about acknowledging that. I have respect, for all the people wishing to share positive things.
Yeah.
That's good. But let it be known that the ancient cultures know the difference, meaning you always look for whoever you're learning from or receiving products from equals formulas. Now I call them products. Where did it come from? Where's the root of where this comes from? Because that's very important. Because people can have the best intention, but you need a teacher.
Yeah.
It's very important.
It's so important. I hope people pay attention too, because there are people who are very like super like massively famous teachers. And I see a lot of people going to them. My clients will go to them and I get invited. And so many times I really politely like turn it down, but it's not because of any ego of thinking, oh, this person can't teach me anything. It's because I'm so like rooted in my own lineage and my own, like my family's teachings and my history teachings that I'm like digging that hole and sticking with that path. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I believe I can speak for both of us. I know for myself, and I know you're this way, Frank, is that I am open for sure. I will hear unless something really does not align and feels, then by nature, your gut tells you, let's maybe just move away from this. But it's all part of the whole thing. It's all part of we're all here. But I would be the same. I'm open, but certain things there's certain values, the 8 keys. I don't really budge from that. I'm rooted in the Tao.
Ooh, let's jump to the 8 keys. Okay. It was like my last question because I thought we had to warm people up, but let's get into it.
Like, no, forget it.
So you have these 8 keys in your book, and they're the 8 principles of living meditation, which is your whole book is about. What are, or maybe that would be a whole 10-hour episode. What are some of the keys that you could share?
Scientists just discovered that your house is making you sick and tired. The electromagnetic frequencies from your Wi-Fi, smart TV, and devices are creating chaos in your nervous system, and you think you're just tired, but you're actually being drained by invisible energy pollution. Here's what's wild though. Researchers found a way to flip your environment from energy vampire to healing sanctuary. Instead of your space draining you, it can actually charge your biofield with beneficial quantum frequencies that boost focus, energy, and performance. I started using Quantum Upgrade in my home office, and it's honestly like someone turned up the volume on my life. I have clearer thinking, better sleep, and way more energy throughout the day. Your environment should be supporting your highest potential, not sabotaging it. So comment quantum and I'll send you my code to transform your space into a quantum healing field for free.
Okay, so I will definitely speak on this, but I do feel like it is important to communicate the foundation of all of this. And actually, you're one of the first that I will announce this to, but I have a new edition coming out that will be paperback coming in 2026 February of this book, which is beautiful because I've had a couple years to evolve in how I say my number one job or role is how I communicate it, because it's there. It's my job to be able to communicate it properly so that it's effective. Otherwise, what am I doing? You know? And it's called The Korean Art of Living Well, which I like that as well because it includes the 3 M's. So remember, the 8 keys of living meditation is part of the 3 pillars. It's the mindset portion, movement, medicine, right? And so all 3 of these things, definitely the 8 keys of living meditation, that's what I was just about to start here, that I want to say this first, the foundation of all of this, and you've heard me say it numerous times now, is the Tao. It's the universe. It's yin and yang. And while so many of us now we even both just take that breath. That's correct. I did that. Right? I saw you, and it's true. Do it, Because, and one of the reasons I love to talk about this in full transparency is it does that to me. When I speak on my lineage, when I speak of these principles, immediately that energy grounds you and purifies you and connects you, you know, and calms you, all the things we wish for as human beings, right? So first came the Tao, the universe. It's like Taoism and Chinese medicine and all the things in like 101 in 2 minutes. Right? But from the Tao, which is the universe, comes everything, okay? And from the Tao comes yin and yang. And so it's what we can picture in our minds. Most people know what yin and yang are now.
I know it as like, you know, of course everyone knows how it looks, but I wonder now as you said that, okay, go ahead, I'll let you finish.
Okay, but cut me off anytime.
I'm actually kind of curious to see if you'll say it.
Yeah. And so a lot of people see fish, right? And so, and why I want to point that out is one side is black and one side is white, but it's curved lines in a circle. And they say fish because it looks like they have eyes, because in the black segment, area, whatever you want to call it, part, is a white little circle. And in the white part is a black little circle. And that shows that they are never separated. And what that shows us is that everything in this life, starting with the universe, we're a microcosm of that, everything is based on this foundation, this principle that there's always this dichotomy, these opposing forces, if you will, and they're always together. They're always changing. That means that there's no such thing as feminine if you don't have masculine. There's no such thing as loud if you don't have soft. You will never understand failure. You will never understand success, let me put it this way, unless you know failure. There's no happiness without sadness and grief. Like no matter what, they're tied. That's the way we look at the body in Eastern medicine. You have yin and yang. Yang is chi, vital energy. Yin is blood, body fluids. It's the substance. They work together, you know, and that literally it starts in your body, mind, body, spirit. In relationships, it's always that balance. So it goes back to how we first began. That's why I was like, I have to speak on this because then people will have that much more of an understanding of what I'm saying. And when you start to acknowledge this and just be aware of this, because it's a human journey in this lifetime. I can't speak for other lifetimes, but for this one, when we're even aware of that, life becomes so much more doable. That's the word that comes to me right now, you know, in a time where there's a lot of people walking through challenge and suffering. You know, when you recognize that, when you go through super challenging moments, you start to realize, you know what, it's all part of the whole thing. So the 8 keys of living meditation, I should back up one more step. These 3 pillars, right? These 3 M's as I call it, that's what our ancient teachers and masters have been handed down for, thousands of years, Frank. Yeah. This goes back to what I say, the Taoist immortals, which were 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, I cannot even. And that's what they basically almost promised us. So they taught us that if you follow these practices and these tools and this way of living, right, you will be able to balance with whatever comes. You'll be able to balance with life. And that's how we can have longevity. I mean, they were the original biohackers, period.
Wow,
and
I love that you said that.
I've been saying this for years.
Can you say it again?
Yes, I love that I'm very excited, Frank, because I feel like I've been saying that for years. I tell my publicist and all the things
no,
like,
you don't understand. I'm like,
and no one's hooked
you
on
do
it
understand.
like you just did.
Oh my God, I get so like, because I love biohacking. I speak at biohacking conferences.
Yes.
Dave Asprey was sitting right where you were sitting a month ago.
Yes.
And I love biohacking, but I feel like in the biohacking community, there's so much about like, I'm going to overcome nature. You know, like kale is trying to kill me and I'm going to, you know, like, because people think it has enzymes that are bad for you, whatever. But, and I'm going to overcome nature in some way or outsmart it in some way, rather than like your approach and the approach that I go with, which is like, let me work with nature. Let me be in union, in that yin and yang, that harmony with nature, right?
It's the only way. All that comes to me right now, and with respect, the beautiful part is I do stay in my path for all the reasons, open to all the things, but you want to try to overcome nature, good luck.
Exactly.
There is
good luck.
And I rarely do I make such strong statements as we started. This is one of the times. It will not happen.
Which
nature
even
and
micro
the universe
and macro, like not with yourself, but also not with like people think we're destroying the earth. The earth will destroy us.
It'll rebalance itself.
Immediately
What happens
if it
to
needs
us,
to.
I don't know.
Exactly. I'm worried about us, not Earth.
Yeah, the Earth is fine. They're like, we're good, thank you.
Exactly.
You saw me to the dinosaurs, right? If people believe that, I don't know.
It can do it again like that.
Yes, it will be rebalanced. Let it be known. This is out of our...
Even if it needs millions of years to like do what it needs to do before it creates a new life form, it will do what it needs to do. And the more I talk to people like you, like Ayurvedic doctors, the more I realize we as body form, not we in our ultimate, in our highest, but we in our human form are really carriers for bacteria.
Yes.
We're working for them. Yes. They were the first things here.
Yes.
They were so genius and created single cell organisms, and then beyond that, whatever else.
Right.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. We'll just do it.
For people watching, there's a fly that flew into your face.
Martial arts in the middle of this interview. She's gone.
So I'm really curious because I know you'll probably choose it intuitively, or I don't know if you're sharing all of them, but can you share some or all of the 8 principles?
I could share all of them, but I feel like we might want to get to other things and they'll probably come out anyways. Right. So the first one that comes to mind is one that I love thinking of, being aware of, and speaking of, and that is the 8th key. So there's 8, right? First is, I should start with, know your true self. It's everything we're talking about, right? And so that is an ongoing journey. I always say, I don't expect to have a phone call one day like, I did it, I know myself. That's not the way this works. But it is always reflecting, being aware, checking in. That's what all these practices do, finding that, constantly bringing ourselves back to balance. There's so many ways that we can communicate that, but that's key number 1. Everything has to start from us, right? That's not an egocentric type of thing, but it's an awareness and how we move in this life and the choices we make, the habits we have, the words we speak, every single thing will affect what we put out into the world, right? Which ultimately affects us. Okay.
So like right now we're talking, right?
Yes.
When you say always starts with you, are you being more aware of what's happening in your body right now as we talk, or are you more aware of me right now?
Myself.
Okay.
And through that, the more I can keep myself centered and balanced, the more that I can be aware of you and connect with you. That's the truth, right? And so now key number 8. Oh, I guess I'll stop at 3.
I actually like that because what? What are you going to say?
I'm going to stop at 3, not 8, but continue,
okay.
Frank.
I was like, I love that you started with 8 because like I always love to go to the end. Harry Potter, I've only seen the last one.
Yes.
Like I haven't seen all the movies. I'm like, what? Just how does it end?
Like, okay, I get the beginning and the side. I get it. Done. Okay, so let's continue then. You gave me direction. I like that. I can get the whole thing about the Tao Te and balance is you need to know how to pivot, right? While keeping your eye on the prize. Okay, 8 is be like bamboo. And it sounds very mysterious and like East Asian-y.
I love that. Be like bamboo.
Be like
did
bamboo.
you create that or is that
I did create that.
Okay.
I created that. And my girlfriends who are starting this amazing custom hat company called You Patch It literally just gave me I should have brought it, a hat that says be like bamboo. I'm like, all right, this is a thing. Because people have been asking. It's a good reminder. And why I will say this.
I can already see it too. Like
yes,
the bamboo is
I'm
sturdy.
very visual.
It's yeah.
Say it, Frank. You say it
No,
first.
no. You. Sorry.
No, because I feel like no, I love it because I was like, no, you must interrupt me. This is like how I flow with my closest people because I think you. I know you
see the sturdiness, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's sturdy. What else? Like, but it's also flexible. Now that I think about it, right? So the bamboo is also bendable a little bit.
100%.
And it can be made into like fibers, like for fabric, for anything. So it can be soft and hard at the same time.
Yes, well, clearly I'm not surprised
Is that what it is?
align and
Okay.
connect at all. But that's it. That's why I was like, nope, keep going, Frank, because it's exactly what it is. And I'll tell you, so this is a huge principle that have been passed down. You know, all these 8 keys too, I like to just acknowledge. My ancestors and teachers didn't call it living meditation, and they didn't name each of these 8 keys. These are the principles handed down. But it was apparently in my lifetime, this was my touch
Yeah, you
on how do I,
it,
yes,
you know?
and I have to.
Yeah.
I'm me sharing it, right?
Yeah.
Which wasn't so easy for me, to be honest. My father had just passed. I'm like now adding all of these things. You know, my greatest, my everything about now it's 9 years ago, and that's when I decided to write this book, which as far as I'm concerned, we wrote together for 10 years. And he wasn't there when I decided to move forward and got my incredible agent, Bill Gladstone, and he got me the book deal. And then I wrote the book. And so I didn't have anyone to check with. I don't always share this, but you're connecting in this way, you know? So when I started writing what these chapters or these keys are going to be called, I really put a lot of heart into this because I didn't want to make a mistake. This is like ancient principles and I'm supposed to name them.
Right.
So for what it's worth. So be like bamboo is something that did really hit me. And I am very visual that way. You did it too. Like I see the bamboo.
I was like, okay, bamboo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so to me, I can speak on myself and what I have seen for so many that we have shared, I have shared this with, is having that visual is often one of those reminders that helps us constantly check in and be aware of ourselves and balance with what's happening. So you're correct. That's what I saw. And that's how I came up with this. Also, what sparked this is this understanding of go with the flow. I used to love that phrase. Don't get me wrong, I still love that phrase. But what I started to see when I looked around, and we've kind of already touched on this, go with the flow. You're just everywhere. I just saw, like, go with the flow starts meaning like, oh, I just go here and there and whatever the wind blows. No, that is not what I'm talking about. That's not Taoist at all. You have to be rooted. Are you kidding? You can't
be grounded.
break from you have to be grounded and centered, or life can become very chaotic for you. And so that's where it took me a step further. Or what exemplifies that in a vision or visual or vision? Visual is what I'm trying to say. And how do you communicate that? And that's what I saw as bamboo. And that is something I was taught. It's so rooted, so strong. Bamboo is known to be strong. You know, kind of you could plant bamboo and it makes the earth, kind of stick together in San Diego and LA. This matters to us, for example.
Or
right?
even other plants, like, the climbing plants.
Yes.
If you do it with bamboo instead of other things, I think it actually it'll start to grow roots with the bamboo because bamboo is moist. And
absolutely. And so it has the strong root. You can't be broken. You can't be lifted, unrooted, uncentered very easily. And you're exactly right. It's flexible. So I already shared that for many years, even of my own life, that warrior in me at that point in my life, so many of us, especially in this day and age, feel like we have to be so tough, so rigid almost. Like, these are my ideas. This is where I come from. I won't bend. Fine. And that's what I'll end with the key number 3, why that's dangerous. And it can really make us sick. Being too stuck on something, being too rigid. In any relationship, in yourself, in your own health, that's everything we're talking about. That's those extremes. We have to be so careful because remember, again, going to martial arts is like that karate board, right? You have that board and in karate, one of the things is you chop the board. Well, if you chop it just right if you hit it just right, the board breaks. Or if you hit it too many times, the board breaks. We're no different. But if you have something that's flexible, it's very difficult to break. Much, much more difficult. And that's bamboo. It's flexible. So when the winds, the storms of life come, it bends all the way down. And when the storm passes, what happens to that bamboo, Frank?
Wow.
It bounces right back up. That's our ultimate wish as a human beings.
I actually didn't know that about bamboo.
Yes, it's so flexible. You take it, if you had bamboo there, I should bring it like on the next, you bend it over and then bing.
And it bounces right back.
Yeah, it bounces right back. And that's what we wish to be, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And so that's what that exemplifies, is understanding that balance once again. And you said it, hard and soft. There, when to do, when not to do, is what my father taught me since I was young. And that's the ultimate becoming more wise in this life. When to do, when to be hard, when to be soft, when to move forward. It's not just always about being, just let everything slide off. Just always be kind. Yes, always be kind. Maybe that's the wrong example to use, but there's a time to fight. There's a time to sit back. There's a time, I think I'm getting my point here.
Yeah, you are. And it's also really interesting because as you're talking, I'm realizing how much synergy and overlap there is between all the cultures. Too,
always.
Right?
I love that you say that. Something I
it's so
feel
similar.
So deeply about.
Yeah.
So deeply.
Like even number one is like know thyself, the Egyptians were saying. And that's like principle one.
Oh my gosh,
know
I get
thyself,
goosebumps.
number one.
Yes.
Right?
It's all,
yeah.
I for my whole life I've said, even when I was little, I never can understand how people, again, here I go making a more extreme statement, but I do feel that strong. I don't understand how people jump so quickly to the differences. Let's appreciate all the differences in, for example, cultures or values or people, but at the very root, like how can we not all see that really when we come back, we're all human.
Yeah.
We all live in this universe. So many of our ancient cultures, they speak on things that if you look closely, they're all saying the same, basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And how beautiful that there's, then from there's so many different ways, rituals, practices, traditions. Find what fits you. Be consistent with that to reach whatever you wish to reach.
Are you a healing practitioner who is stuck in a job that drains your soul? Or maybe you are currently practicing but struggling to find the right clients and be seen? Well, in my online course, Awaken the Healer Within, I will show you how to ditch imposter syndrome. Awaken your spiritual gifts using real, ancient, Vedic, and Egyptian techniques, and all at the same time build a prosperous business with soul-aligned clients who want to pay you. I'll show you the exact strategy that took me from 4-time Emmy Award-winning journalist to healing practitioner making 6 figures. Plus, there's a weekly coaching call so that I am guiding you every step of the way. Now, if you're ready to turn your purpose into prosperity, just visit awakenedhealers.com/join.
But at the foundation of it all, we're all saying the same thing.
Different cultures, but even within one culture, like maybe samurais, let's say in 100%. Japan, they all had their different ways, their different lineage, their different schools, right? And different, even within Buddhism, there's different versions. There's Tibetan Buddhism, there's Chinese Buddhism, like there's different types within even one culture.
Yes.
But they're all, again, rooted from that same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these ancient practices, they really do. It can be so profound. Are you kidding? We're talking at the Tao. Anyone who knows the Tao Te Ching is like.
My favorite line is, how can you have a favorite?
I think you're gonna say it. No,
oh, you do think?
I think I know. Say it.
Oh, that would be shocking because there's so many lines. Now
so many lines.
He who uses force forfeits his own power.
Okay, I do love that one. That's not what I thought, to be transparent. But you're going to like this too. I love that, the forcing and being part of nature. That's exactly. The second you say the Tao, you lose the Tao. Like literally the Tao is very funny that way. They're like, you just said it, now you've literally lost it. Like that is how simple and deep. It's like, don't sit there and just get it's so simple, but so profound.
But you know what's deep about that too is, wait, was that the line?
That I was speaking of. It's not exactly, but that's basically what it says. When you first open the Tao Te Ching, that's one of the first things it says.
Well, you know what's interesting? I have right behind me here is A Course in Miracles is my favorite book. In fact, I have studied with the biggest Indian gurus in the world, with with Christian monks who have with the Dalai Lama, like with everybody that you can imagine as far as like lineage. To be clear, not with the Dalai Lama, with this Gregorian monk who taught, he was a teacher with the Dalai Lama.
Okay,
and I studied with him. Different people, and I always realize that everything I learn, no matter what they say, always takes me back to A Course in Miracles that
amazing.
I have been reading for 15 years now.
I want to know. Yes,
it's an amazing book, but the first line is, "Welcome to A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. You only choose when you take it." In other words, like you can do it now, you can do it in the next life, you can wait 100 more years. Whenever you decide, the course is here. And they don't mean necessarily like this book is required. No. They mean the teachings within this book you will have to learn one day, no matter what. You can choose. You can, like, if you're having fun right now, and I mean this, like, I know it sounds extreme, but I really do mean it. Like, you're having fun right now, having your whatever, you're addicted, you're on the streets, you're whatever, that's fine. If that's your path right now, that's going to make you a saint in your next life or 5 lives from now, then go through that. That's what you need right now.
Yes.
But eventually you have to do this work.
Yes, I absolutely.
It's there when you're ready.
I close my eyes, I could just be sitting here in silence, but I don't think that would be great for the podcast.
But I also want to let you talk, but it reminds me of that line of like, once you say you've lost it, also it goes to like the Hindu concept of like the creator, everything is formless. The second you give it form or you start to understand it, you've lost it.
Because you're using too much
You're thinking
here.
Yeah, rather
and that's
than
always
here.
the balance.
Yeah.
And actually, you one of the things that it's funny that I'm just being this transparent about it, but I suppose
You said that a lot this time. And
yes, because I don't know if you're even supposed to talk about things like this, but who cares? Welcome to me. Because everyone's like, Janelle, you need more of a hook. Like a hook. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Trust me, everything they've told me, we've already broken every rule on this talk, so I'm
like,
sorry.
Okay,
I know.
So whoever's listening, tell me if you like this one.
Yeah.
Because what keeps coming to me, and that's how it comes, is like, and by hook, it's like, what's the thing that does? Because you only have so much time to maybe, if it fits someone, to catch their attention. And of course, this means a lot to me. So one of the things that has been coming lately is exactly what we're talking about as well, which is from nothing comes everything.
Yes.
And I'm like, is that too much? Like, is that scare people? Some people are like, that's scary. So I'm sharing with all of you.
It is scary, but you know what? Not for my audience. You should know my audience is like
I'm
super like the most I mean, I created my entire channel with blindfolding people, taping their eyes shut, and we can still see everything in the room.
Oh my God.
And like demonstrating those abilities. And then, they were getting like, they were talking 10 years ago now when no one was really talking about spirituality. And
this is why we find each other. I couldn't be more grateful. I mean, it's not yours and mine now. It's
and you know
ours.
what? You want to hear something really crazy is we're finding each other at a time when both of us, you said it and it spoke so deeply to me. You said, I am finally like not afraid to step into my power and speak these things.
Yes.
Because I've been like a healer for like, my whole life, but publicly for 6 years.
Yes.
But within my sessions, we're so deep and like where we go. But then like on this level, I find myself, and I don't want to say, it came to me yesterday this way, so I'll say it this way, of like rolling over on my back like a puppy for like certain things. And I'm like, why do you do that? Because I'm so afraid of looking too powerful or making someone feel or too much see my abilities or something like that. So I bring it down.
Yes.
I'll dumb it down. I'll make a joke. I'll whatever, I'm almost like, don't see how powerful I can be. Don't see my light. Don't see my abilities.
Yes.
My empathy, my all that. And I'll like,
I know.
Yes. And then when you said that, I was like, oh my God, I do that
and because
too.
Right now it's needed more than ever.
Yeah.
And also we're ready. And 10 years from now, 5 years from now, I'm certain we will absolutely know each other. We will remember this moment and think back like, oh my gosh, and I'm even more ready now. And then I'm even more ready now. And that's the truth, right? That's what's correct. There's a whole thing about truth, correct, all the things.
Yeah.
So I want to say it accurately.
What do you think it is that scares people about that idea that everything comes from nothing, and like that infinite nothingness is from where we all came from, but where everything will eventually return?
I think that for our modern world, I keep calling it that, but we know what that means. I don't know a better phrase at the moment. I think that it is just hard to grasp. And I think that alone makes it a little bit, but I think we're all ready for that. Hence why what we just said, we're here now and we can step into it. I'm certain it has to do with our own selves, Frank, of what took us to a place where we feel more like we can show that strength, right? But also people are more open to it. Because when to do and not to do. If you share something that is not the correct time, it can actually not do anything, or could actually even sometimes do harm. I do believe that, If
you do it before you're ready?
Yeah, before you're ready or before someone else is ready. That's the truth, but we're at a different, that's a whole show we can have another time too, where we're at right now. But I also feel, actually what one person said to me when I said, I want it to be from nothing comes everything. One of the things, and he's a wonderful human being, but was trying to look at, okay, how are people going to feel this at first? Like it feels almost a little bit negative, right? From nothing comes everything. Like I'm starting with a nothing, but I keep saying it, that's the Taoist in me. I don't have a problem because I think that's what needs to happen right now.
Exactly.
Let me shock everyone for a second. I do that to myself too. From nothing comes everything. And my wish, even when I say it that way, and I found myself often when I go and speak in front of, large audiences or whatever events that I do, I'll have at this point in my life, after doing this for some time, have the main points that I know are important to me, but then you go and you connect, right? You walk into the room, you're open, you connect, and then certain things will just kind of come as they should. And I'll never forget one day I was actually with Jen, who you met. I walked into an event and what came out of my mouth, as I said, I'm not here to give you anything. I'm here to take things away. And I even heard myself say that. And I was at an interesting point in my own walking through some interesting challenges. And that's exactly how it felt. And I stick by that because actually maybe that's what I started with. As it sounds funny, now I'm literally having this conversation with all of us. That's what I started with. I'm here to take it away. And that's what someone said. It's a little too strong. But you responded exactly how...
No. It's perfect. That's why I told you I go there in my sessions, because what you just said, that's what I tell people. Because so in my sessions, I don't ever, I'm not like, you know how like Reiki, for example, they're giving, right? I'm not doing that. I literally just go in and I'll start saying, you were abandoned when you were 12 years old.
Right.
And they don't tell me anything. And I'm like, and that's why you have eye pain now. So, okay, I'll write down, we're going to clear that. So we're literally just finding the things. I'm like, you have a belief that you're not good enough from age 11. They're like, my mom at age 11 told me she didn't like me.
Yeah.
Like literally things. And they'll just start crying because for them, they know exactly what I'm talking about when I tell them these things.
Right. Like
a woman came once, a month ago, and she was like, she had fainted, and she's like, so I'm here to do a session to see what caused it. And I said, nothing caused it. You're fine. Maybe you like got dehydrated.
Yes.
And I said, but what does want to be cleared is your grief from age 11. And she started crying. My mom died when I was 11. So again, it's that same thing. It's like, you're already perfect. There's nothing I need to or can give you. What could I give you? You have everything. You're just, it's like the sun being covered by clouds.
Yes.
But the sun is there. We just need to move these clouds so you can see it again.
I love that. The clearing is so important. And that's also part of knowing your true self. All of the answers in this that you will ever look for in this life are within you and in the nature around you. And then why I wish to share this in the best, I don't even know what the word is, most correct way possible is that when you feel that, that's exactly what it does. It takes away the stress. I mean, really, if you had to put one word on it, it takes away the stress. And we live in a time. Listen, we started with me, letting everyone know that 20 years ago when I started, people thought I was crazy. Talking about meditation, are you kidding? Natural products, herbal medicine, martial arts, that was not even a thing. So I would not have even talked about this.
Good for you though, for being a pioneer in that.
Because I knew.
It's not easy though.
No, it's not easy.
It's not easy because even I would say I started 10 years after you and it was not easy.
Yes. And it wasn't, but something I was always very secure, and I'm grateful. One of the last things I was ever able to tell my father was that, thank you for giving me one of the greatest gifts to ever receive as your daughter, is that you have given me the tools, the gift of feeling very secure in myself, because that is, a very beautiful thing, which I constantly, keep purifying myself and being aware, but ultimately, yes, I know we're touching on all the things here, but yes.
We're really jumping around, I know, but don't worry, it's going to be perfect.
I have a feeling our community, our people are right there with us.
I mean, it sounds like a conversation. Honestly, I don't feel like I've even recorded a podcast. Like we're just chatting.
Which I love.
I do though, because you just talked about stress and the amount of stress people are feeling today.
From nothing comes everything.
And what is, because you've mentioned that Qigong is the original breath work.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Movement is so important. Again, let me just say, medicine is something I've devoted most of my life and will continue. I still do all my things, making the formulas, the products, so important for us. Eating properly. Okay, mindset, we just touched on the 8 keys of living meditation. That movement pillar is one of the most important. And remember, I started by saying, and I'm hearing more and more people say this now, but let it be known this is absolutely correct. Movement is medicine. I started saying this some years ago because I wanted to quickly adjust people's mindset on how powerful it actually is. It's one of the main things, like a true doctor of acupuncture, herbal medicine, they didn't necessarily call themselves any of this back then, would study martial arts with a medicine and this mindset. It all comes together. But the movement aspect, I like to describe it like this. Thousands of years ago, and even today, myself included, doctors of Eastern medicine, just as much as I might prescribe you a formula, right, of herbs, of medicine that we take, I will also prescribe movement. That is how powerful. Maybe I'll even prescribe that instead of the medicine.
And now when you say you prescribe to somebody movement, are you giving them a very specific movement?
Yes. And now what I teach is so Qigong is, I'll go to what you were saying just a moment ago, is one of the first, if not the first, never make a solid statement. I was not there. Maybe I was 10,000 plus years ago. Who knows? But ultimately, again, those Taoists, that breath is Qi. Breath is vital energy. The Chinese character for Qi is literally like vapors. Like we can't live without our breath. And so they understood that in order to cultivate their Qi, to have longevity, the ultimate biohackers, that breath was so important. That builds your Qi in your body. And remember, we have so much Qi. There's many types of Qi. We don't have time to do that right now. But one type of Qi is your essence, your Jing. You're only born with so much of it. Okay, and so we constantly want to build our Qi and make sure it's flowing properly. That's the secret to all of it. But so they would come up with certain breathing techniques, and then answering what your question, certain specific techniques. That's Qigong. Qigong is more very simple but very intentional movements. The ones that I teach in the world right now as medicine, kind of at different events and all the things, are specific techniques that have been handed down my lineage. There are a few other lineages in our world that everything kind of comes from, all coming from the same, the Tao of the universe. And there are different ways of connecting with our breath, inhaling in to our abdomen, exhaling through our mouth, bringing in certain energy from the sky, connecting with the energy of the earth, moving it from our chest. These are, and that was, as I like to say, I'll say it again, the very first form of breath work, as I am aware, and the very first form of any kind of exercise or movement.
Wow.
That's even before martial arts came Qi Gong. Qi is vital energy. Gong is the consistent study of cultivating it. That's what that means. So everything came from there. So even martial arts, right? And that's like our ancient practices in our ancient cultures in East Asia, in India. If you look back once again into all these ancient cultures, they have their forms of, let's say now I'm moving into like combat or martial arts, but first it came from that. Then they started seeing these techniques that were really for longevity and beauty and health and wellness. And they thought to themselves, I wonder if we can use this for martial application to defend ourselves.
Yeah.
But a proper martial artist and a proper doctor, how I learned, know how to basically get rid of someone, and then you also know how to fix them. Isn't that cool? That's another reason why it's a strong lineage.
It's really strong. I went to a healer in Mexico once, this amazing curandera.
Yes.
And I was like, do you know black magic? And she was like, the only reason I can remove black magic is because I know how to put it on,
Yes.
She's like, I don't do it. She's like, I only do white herb, like herbal medicine.
Yes.
She's like, but I have to know their mechanisms in
order
order
to... You don't know, how can you even see?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the truth. And actually, I was just sharing with a friend coming up here that I just went to Tulum, Mayakopa, Tulum, for the first time in my whole life.
Oh, wow.
We're really having a conversation. I won't stick there.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
I'm like, you live in Southern California.
I know, but we go to Cabo all the time. It's much quicker and easier.
Yeah.
But I loved it. And one of the things that I, once again, really reminded me, and I was moved, was understanding that Mayan culture and how similar, again. And the understanding, this is my phrase, so with much respect, I hope I'm communicating this well, is it very much reminded me of yin and yang as well. All those energies, what we would call negative or positive, it is all we're very aware of that they exist, but it's all part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was really beautiful to me, and a very ancient culture as well. Hello.
And it really is all connected. I don't know, so I won't speak on it, but more and more historians are finding like Egyptian hieroglyphs in Mayan temples or like Indian this in Persian, it's all back then. I think it was more connected than we actually realized.
Oh, yes.
Because we so much in like I guess studying. I don't know. People get into conspiracies of like it was hidden. I don't even go there.
Yes.
It's just like we do though learn very much like the Egyptians did this, this did that, these cultures did that, but
segmented.
Segmented, but we don't see like where's the connection, the web.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything is connection. Living meditation, if you had to ask me to say one word, is connection. Connection in the universe around us, connection within ourself, mind, body, spirit, connection between each other. Wow. It's all connection. The second we lose that connection as human beings, which is again a whole other conversation, that's it.
I'm so excited to like delve deeper into your book tonight. I'm going to read the whole thing.
Well, it's certainly not expected, but I do think that it will resonate.
Seriously, now I'm getting excited. So if somebody's reading it right now, they're watching and they're thinking, I can't even, people think meditation is so hard sometimes.
Gosh, I love that you're saying
right?
this.
And they're like, I can't meditate. Why living meditation? What is in this book for people?
Yes. So first and foremost, one of the things that I find myself saying a lot lately is who made these rules?
Yeah.
Who made meditation so hard? Did someone teach us that? Because yes, you can go into deeper forms of meditation like my father did. Like I'm certain you have walked through. I know for a fact you have. Go into certain temples. Yes, once you get further in your practice, it's much more discipline, many other techniques, let's call them, right? But meditation is what? Being aware of yourself, calming your mind, your body, centering yourself, purifying, clearing, because from nothing comes everything. When you're able to purify yourself of things that do not serve you, that are not good, that could be negative, whatever word you want to use, you leave more room for positive. You leave more room for perspective, for connection. That's meditation. And so I find that people make meditation so complicated. you have to sit here just like this for 2 hours. Like, okay, first of all, who has 2 hours?
And don't think.
You know,
And it's like,
no,
that's
like, oh my
never been a
gosh, like,
meditation
literally, we're
rule,
just
don't think.
stressing ourselves out.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where living meditation came from. That's how this whole side of my platform, if you wish, started, because one day I just had it. I think I was pregnant with Vince, my first son. That's when I started, and I wouldn't go on social media. That was like very uncomfortable for me. All the things.
Number one pain point in all my clients is that they are like, I think I'm a healer, but I don't know how to say it on social media. What are my friends gonna say? What will, like, it's the number one pain point that they come to me with.
Well, it's you're looking. And I tend to be a more private person. You know, in general, I'm happy to share all the things, right? But one day that I think I had it, and sometimes you got to reach that extreme, that breaking point.
Yeah.
Because I was hearing amazing people speak on, you know, they go and they get to meditate for an hour, and like in their beautiful special room with all the, you know, all the things. And then I was like, that's beautiful. And listen, I would like that too. Don't get me wrong. Go to the spas, all wellness retreats. There's nothing wrong with either. However, we have to remind people and let them know that meditation can happen anywhere. Living meditation should happen everywhere. Every moment of your life is a time that you can apply this understanding of meditation, which is, again, being aware, taking a pause, broadening your perspective, right? Zooming out, as I call it, knowing whether to, another kind of key concept, principle that I think of, respond or react. You know, that's all of these things. So when you respond, you're balancing with, and when you react, it's more extreme. It's emotion. We need that, but if you live your whole life based on that, good luck. You're going to make yourself sick and stressed all the time. So living meditation is every moment. That's why these 8 keys help us to constantly just keep checking in. Living meditation every moment, right? Meditation, as I know you know, and I love to remind people, is meditation can be washing the dishes. Meditation can be an art. It can anything where you truly can put your mind and center your mind and let go. Because from nothing comes everything. That's why Zen, Buddhism, and so that Enso circle is on everything. Now you all know, anytime you see anything of mine, the products, the book has an Enso circle. And that's exactly what that is. That's that meditation, 0.
I didn't know that. I've always seen that circle, but I didn't know what that meant.
Yes. Now sometimes we get fancy and like put half the circle.
Yeah. But I've seen a lot of half.
Yes,
or
it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's a circle that never fully connects, because that's the constant balance of everything we've talked about.
What does that represent, that it never connects?
That is from nothing comes everything. That is like a meditation. You enter from nothing, you connect to everything.
Wow.
Right? So like, even I know your meditation, you've had strong meditations, right?
Oh, not only that. I mean, there's times where I've had to we've talked about this, where I actually don't meditate very much anymore at all. I've kind of stopped.
Yes.
Which I never thought I would do. I was like a 2-hour-a-day Kriya yoga every morning.
Because you can tell when to do and not to do.
All of a sudden, I was like what you said. One day I was like, there's no need to practice. Now, I don't think that's, again, like you said, like what started this whole conversation, not in an absolute way. For some people, they should go do that for sure.
Yes.
Go do a 3-day
And maybe tomorrow you'll wake up and feel differently.
Exactly. And I might go be in a cave meditating for a year. You know, who knows?
Yes.
For right now, I'm really seeing the embodied living meditation so strongly.
It's natural.
So natural. The entire time you and I have been talking, I'm like,
it feels that way.
Breathing in and out, and I'm actually saying a mantra.
Yes.
And I'm sure you have something you do, but it's never not happening. I could be having a full-on conversation and I'm going so hum, so or whatever I'm saying, you know? Yeah.
Yes. And for anyone listening who does not necessarily do these types of whatever, I don't even want to put a word to it. It really is just being present. That's why we have all these words that I say, that I do love to say, even though it can be cliche, and now I'm like rhyming. This is very interesting.
Well, the bee like the bamboo is the best. I love that.
I'm like, wow, this is the whole thing. My boys will be happy. I'm like, now mommy's rapping. They're like, stop it, mom. But no, seriously, it is. Anyways, I don't want to go on a tangent, but I do.
It's beautifully full circle. Is there anything that somebody who's right now watching, going through something, that you would want to share with now? As far as, it can be a technique from the book, it can be something to implement into your life today, anything like that.
Yes. So for the first thing that comes to my mind as we're closing our beautiful time together, our conversation, is, you know, for some reason I just really want to say out loud a lot of times, like everything is going to be okay. I don't know why. That's just really, everything is going to be okay. And that's what all of these, again, we can make, they are so powerful and strong. You even saw my strength, like, start to come out when I'm even talking about them, because they're so strong, these principles and these practices. But we have everything we need. Life is always going to be filled with ups and downs. And right now I'm aware that there's a lot of challenges, always have been there, but particularly right now because there's a whole transformation happening in our world and in our life. But everything is going to be okay. And you can do it very simply and effectively, even with one proper breath. And what that looks like is, for those who can see, great. If you can't see, I know you can't even really see from the waist down right now.
Yeah.
But just picture, you can do it anywhere. Anywhere. That's the beautiful part about this. No one can take this away from you. You sit, and what I love to do, actually my favorite way of meditating is on a chair like this, where my feet can be planted. So 90 degrees at the knees, right? Our back straight, but not uncomfortable. You want it straight so you can picture your breath, your chi flowing. I know you know this, Frank, but for those who may not be aware.
Yeah.
But you want to be natural, because remember, when you're not tight, martial arts has hard and soft movements. And that's because you wake up your channels and then you soften. But in Qigong, I teach both. But when your body's soft, right? So if you are feeling panic, if you're feeling fatigue, any of those extreme type of feelings, when you make your body soft, everything can flow better. Okay? So be aware of that when you're doing meditation in general, right? So we can put our hands, there's different techniques, but just kind of rest your hands on your knees is fine, because not everyone can see us. So you breathe in through your nose for the purposes of what I like to share with everyone. You breathe in through your nose, not into your chest first, into your abdomen first. And that takes training.
No, you're right. And
but if there's one thing I wish for people so many people do that. And I said to you before, and I often will say this to kind of get everyone's attention, who here wants to give themselves a panic attack? And everyone's like, what? What did she just say? Because if you want to take a whole bunch of short breaths, just all in your chest, you will 100% make your body off balance. So you breathe in through your nose into your abdomen first, and then it fills your chest. And you can train yourself to breathe this way on a daily, all the time.
What's interesting is daily, that is how I breathe.
Yes.
Because I was trained to, but in meditation, for some reason, my instinct is always breathe into your heart.
Yes.
And then I have to remind myself, wait, no, Frank, stomach.
Yes, and there's different practices though. That's what I'm saying. There's different techniques as you progress in your meditation practice, right? But in general, doing this is a very grounding, calming meditation. Breath, let's just call it. Doesn't have to be a whole thing. So you breathe in through your nose and your abdomen, filling your chest, exhale through your mouth, making that noise. Squeezing your belly button to your back, squeezing all your air out. And that noise alone calms the nervous system, regulates chi. So even that one breath, if that's all you have time to do, to root your feet no matter where you are, and you can, even if you're driving, pay attention. I'm not saying start doing, but you, in that moment, you can teach yourself how to feel your energy drop. Ground, right? Breathe in, out. In a conversation, something gets heated, or your brain, you feel like you're a little foggy and it's important, or your kids are acting nutty and you need a moment. You take even one breath like this and then move forward. And then you'll see that you're not just being reactionary, but you'll start responding in balance to things. It's huge. And it's one breath.
One breath. Yeah.
I think we make things so overwhelming. We want so much.
Yeah.
Tell me all the things. Great. I mean, I like learning all the things as well. However,
but it's always that. And what's so funny is like what you just said, man, we started the conversation with nothing from nothing comes everything. We started with the absolution, never speak in absolutes. Yes. But also it goes back to just this own, like what you said, all these teaching, all the principles, everything just goes back to really what Ram Dass said, just be here now.
Yes.
Be here
presence. Now. I was starting to say that before. I didn't want to go too far.
And he always, same thing. He would go and teach for hours and hours, and then he'd always be like, but the lesson is just be here now.
Yes.
Be here now.
Because one day you're not going to be here. One day you're not going to be here. I have started to think of this myself and share this as well. It's just another
I've been thinking about death a lot lately.
Yes. Well, especially one of the greatest gifts of losing my father very suddenly in the way that it did the most important, of course, my children, but at that time. And having lost him that quickly, I will always, in his honor, and it has helped me and will continue to help me, in one moment, it is over. And I don't want to give people that scared feeling or that pessimistic, but if you look at life that way, things become much more simple. And actually life becomes so much more enjoyable and peaceful. So think to yourself, if you're in a conflict with a friend, if you're walking through something, just think to yourself, if I'm not here tomorrow or they're not here tomorrow, how am I going to feel about this? Like if we live our life more that way, I promise you will, a lot of my life is just reprioritizing. Business, kids, all the things. How do you do this, Janelle? I just constantly reprioritize everything.
Wow.
By thinking, okay, if I'm not here tomorrow and I look back, for the most part, my wish is I want to look back and think to myself, you know what? I'm happy with that. You know? And if we live more that way and allow ourselves to live more that way, by being present through these practices and these 3 M's, then that's the ultimate goal. We're all on the same journey, all of us. So.
Oh, wow. On that note,
Yes.
thank you so much for being
I'm
here.
so grateful to be
So
here.
the book is called Living Meditation.
Yes, but it's going to come out
And
as a new
it's coming
edition
out.
soon. You all know now the first, The
Yeah.
Art of Living Well.
And the Art of Living Well will be the new edition, but that's in
Yes.
2026, yeah?
2020 February, so it's actually not that far
Oh,
away.
not that far.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. But I don't want people to wait for the new one.
No, you're right.
Get both.
Yes, and it will be different. So 8 Keys of Living Meditation.
So you
is a
have
special book.
updated it,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Ever since I wrote my goals down with the pen, my dreams and reality have both been blending in. I just hope that in the end, my debt don't extend me all my dividends. If it did,